Her mother slammed her wine glass down like a damn gavel. We were halfway through dinner, steak, red wine, candles, fake smiles. And then she barked it out. Clean the toilet. I looked up. Thought I misheard. What? I said, wiping my mouth with the cloth napkin like a civilized man. You heard me, she snapped. Clean the toilet. Now. My fork froze midair. My wife, Amanda, didn't even blink. She just smirked, looked down at her plate like nothing had happened. My heart thumped once, twice. I slowly set the fork down. You serious? I asked. I was calm, but something inside me shifted, like a crack running through old marble. Amanda leaned back in her chair, crossed her legs, and gave me that little cruel smile that used to turn me on. Now it made my skin crawl. You have two options, she said, voiced like a villain in some cheap courtroom drama. Clean the toilet, or go to jail. She said it slow, like she enjoyed every syllable. Her mother chimed in, voice cold and proud. I'm a lawyer. One call, and I'll have you framed so hard your grandkids will be born in cuffs. I stood up. Didn't yell. Didn't argue. I took the manila envelope I had tucked under my chair, slammed it down on the table like a hammer. Inside? Every receipt. Every message. Every photo. Every single piece of proof of the affair she thought I didn't know about. Amanda's face twitched. Just a little. Like she'd swallowed vinegar. But she didn't break character. She just said, you'll regret this. I didn't answer. I walked out. Got in the car. Left the steak untouched. I didn't even take my jacket. That was Tuesday. Let me rewind a bit. Back to when this nightmare started looking less like a marriage and more like a well-decorated prison cell. 3 weeks ago, Amanda stopped kissing me in the morning. Not in that casual, tired wife way. No, this was intentional. Like my lips had become strangers to her. She'd glance at me and then immediately look at her phone. Lock screen. Smile. Swipe. Lock it again. Smile wider. Red flag? No. It was a damn flare gun in the sky. I tried being sweet. I cooked dinner. I brought flowers. I asked if everything was okay. She said I was getting clingy. I knew. Deep down, I knew. But I was stupid enough to hope I was wrong. Then there was the hotel bill. I found it while cleaning out the glove box of her car. A single receipt tucked under the manual. 1 night. 2 meals. 1 room. Champagne. Her name printed on top, with some initials scribbled below. I took a photo, slid it into my phone, and pretended I didn't see a damn thing. That was a Friday. I followed her the next weekend. No, I'm not proud of that. But when you feel your world cracking, you grab at whatever truth you can find. She told me she was going to brunch with her sister. She ended up at a rooftop bar, locked lips with some guy in a linen shirt and loafers without socks. I stayed just long enough to see them disappear into the elevator together. Did it hurt? Nah. It burned. It wasn't just the betrayal, it was the way she walked, confident, like I didn't exist. Like we hadn't shared a bed, dreams, bank accounts, tears. Like I was furniture. So, back to dinner. Her mother tried to humiliate me in my own home. Amanda joined in. And I? I flipped the damn table with evidence. Told them both they messed with the wrong man. Amanda thought she had the upper hand. She didn't know the judge I hired for the case used to play poker with my dad every Thursday. Court date was Friday. Amanda showed up in heels and crocodile tears. Her mom wore Chanel and confidence. She lost both when the judge walked in. He didn't even look at her at first. Just glanced at me and nodded like old friends. Her face turned white. Her mom whispered something. Amanda squeezed her hand. I almost felt sorry for them. Almost. But then I remembered. Amanda told me to clean the toilet or go to jail. Now it was her standing in front of a judge. And I hadn't even dropped the second envelope yet. That was still in my jacket pocket. And that one had recordings. Phone calls. Videos. Proof she wasn't just cheating. She was scheming. She was evil in designer heels. And I had just pressed play. To be continued. The courtroom fell silent as the recording began to play. Amanda's voice came through the speakers, clear as day. He's too dumb to notice. I could drain our joint account and he'd still buy me flowers. A muffled laugh followed. Then the man's voice. Same guy from the rooftop. You serious? What if he finds out? Amanda giggled. That same giggle I used to think was adorable. Let him. My mom's a lawyer. She'll bury him in paperwork before he even blinks. People in the courtroom shifted. Her mother's face crumbled. Amanda didn't even look at me. She stared straight ahead, jaw tight, nostrils flaring. I watched them unravel without saying a word. The judge cleared his throat. This is a lot to digest. Amanda's lawyer, some hotshot with hair gel and fake confidence, jumped in, trying to object. But it was too late. The damage was done. I walked out of that courtroom not a broken man, but a free one. That night, I sat in my empty apartment. The one Amanda always said was too small for someone like her. I poured myself a glass of whiskey. No music. No lights. Just me and the sound of betrayal echoing through my skull. How did we even get here? When I met Amanda, she was working in a boutique downtown. She had ambition in her eyes and just enough mystery to make a man lose sleep. I thought I'd won the lottery. We got married after a year. Moved in together 6 months later. I thought we were building a life. Instead, I was laying bricks in a prison she was designing. Little things started making sense now. The late nights. The business trips she swore were mandatory. The sudden interest in prenups and her mother's increasingly hostile attitude. I thought it was stress. Work. Hormones. Nah. It was strategy. They were playing chess. I was playing house. The worst part? I would have forgiven her. Not because I'm weak, but because I loved her that much. That's the sickest joke of all. A week after the trial, Amanda showed up at my place. No call. No warning. She was dressed in all black, like she was attending a funeral. Maybe she was, the funeral of her control over me. I opened the door, leaned against the frame, and said nothing. I messed up, she began. No makeup. No attitude. But I knew her. The vulnerability was a costume. I made a mistake. I let my mom get in my head. I was scared. You were too good to me, and I didn't know how to handle it. I laughed. I couldn't help it. That's your excuse? I was too good to you. She stepped forward. I stepped back. I miss us, she whispered. I miss you. There it was. The pitch. The performance. The twisted attempt to pull me back into the web. I'm not the same woman anymore, she said. I looked her in the eyes and replied, that's the first honest thing you've said. She stood there for a second, like she expected me to fold. But I didn't. I slowly shut the door. Did it hurt? Yeah. Like ripping off a scab still stuck to your soul. But it was the first real healing I'd felt in months. 3 days later, I got a call from her mother's firm. She'd been let go for misconduct. Turns out, framing your son-in-law and threatening false imprisonment doesn't sit well with the ethics committee. Amanda texted me again. Just one line. You ruined my life. I stared at it for a full minute, then replied. No. I just showed the world who you really were. She didn't text back, and I never looked back. But the story wasn't over. 2 weeks later, I got a letter. No stamp. No return address. Just slid under my door. Inside, a photo. Amanda. The guy from the rooftop. Another man I didn't recognize. All three of them, shirtless, in a hot tub. A date scribbled on the back. It was from the week after our anniversary. A week when she swore she was with her mother. And the guy I didn't recognize? He'd show up in my life again, just not the way I expected. But I'll get to that. You need to know what happened before the next explosion. She didn't just break me. She rewrote the entire script of who I thought I was. And now, standing alone with that photo in my hands, I realized this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I couldn't stop staring at that third guy. Something about his face. Like I'd seen him before, on Amanda's phone maybe, or on some email chain she accidentally left open one night. A face too familiar to be a stranger, but too out of place to be a friend. I shoved the photo in a drawer and tried to forget about it. But you know how the mind works. You can't unsee some truths. Especially when they're shoved under your door in the middle of the night like some twisted message from karma. The next morning, I got a call from a blocked number. Normally, I don't answer those. But something in me said, pick it up. Ethan, a deep voice asked. Who's this? You don't know me. But I know what your wife did. Pause. I'm listening. She's not just cheating on you, man. She's been involved in something bigger. Money laundering. Tax fraud. Her mother's been covering her tracks for years. My blood ran cold. What the hell are you talking about? The guy in the photo? That's Chase Langston. Federal informant. Undercover. He was supposed to keep it quiet, but he fell for her. She played him too. Just like she did you. Click. The line went dead. I stared at the phone like it had just turned into a bomb. I felt my hands trembling again. Not from fury, adrenaline. Rage. Betrayal layered on betrayal. This wasn't just infidelity. This was a conspiracy. I called Amanda. First time in weeks. She picked up on the second ring. Well, she said, voice dripping with mock sweetness. Miss me already? Who's Chase Langston? I asked. Silence. Don't play dumb, Amanda. She sighed. He's just someone I met at a conference. You slept with him, too? Another pause. Then a chuckle. You know, for a guy who used to be so boring in bed, you've sure grown some balls lately. I didn't even feel the insult. I was past that. I wanted truth. Or at least what pieces I could gather. Was any of it real? I asked. Anything? Us. The marriage. The plans. The way you used to look at me. Was any of it real? She didn't answer. And that was the answer. Click. She hung up. I was done playing nice. I pulled out the second envelope. The one I hadn't given the judge. It had more than the affair. It had bank transfers. Strange deposits. Paper trails that didn't add up. She thought I didn't know where to look. She forgot I used to manage the finances before she slowly took over every password and locked me out. But I had backups. Flash drives. Emails forwarded to secret folders. I didn't even know why I did it back then. Maybe some part of me always knew. I printed everything. Labeled each piece. Made copies. Then I made a call of my own. Not to the police. Not yet. To a journalist. One who owed my father a favor. The same night, I drove past Amanda's apartment. I parked across the street. Sat in the car. Just watched. A black SUV pulled up around 10. Out stepped Chase Langston, laughing, shirt unbuttoned, bottle of wine in his hand. Amanda opened the door in a robe. Same robe she used to wear for me. He kissed her like she was the prize. And she let him. He had no idea what she really was. Neither did I, once. But now? Now I was watching the two of them walk straight into their own downfall. And I was the one lighting the fuse. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table with the lights off. Just me, the silence, and the stack of evidence spread out like puzzle pieces no one else had dared to assemble. Every transaction. Every message. Every lie. She didn't just cheat on me with a man, she cheated with a whole lifestyle. One built on manipulation, fraud, and arrogance. The journalist called back around 3:30 a.m. You weren't kidding, she said, voice sharper now, serious. This stuff you sent me, it connects with 2 other cases I've been looking into. Money trails from shell companies tied to Amanda's mother's firm, campaign donations, even a real estate scam. I leaned back in the chair. So what now? I'll publish. But you better be ready. They're not gonna go down quietly. I almost laughed. Good, I said. Neither am I. The article hit that Friday. Front page of their online site. Socialite legal empire tied to financial scandal. Sources point to prominent attorney and her daughter. It didn't name Amanda directly, but anyone with a brain could figure it out. The photo of her exiting court last month with that smug grin? That was enough. My phone exploded. Old college friends. Colleagues. Even her father, whom she hadn't spoken to in years, called me. I always knew something was off, he said. She takes after her mother. Amanda, though? She didn't call. She showed up. Unannounced. I heard the knock and checked the peephole. Hair a mess, sunglasses on, hoodie pulled low. I opened the door but didn't say anything. She pushed past me like she still had the right. I can't believe you did this, she spat. I thought you were too busy blackmailing plumbers and screwing federal agents. You think you're so clever? She hissed. You think you can just ruin my life and walk away clean? Pretty much, yeah. She shoved a folder in my chest. Legal papers. A lawsuit. Claiming defamation. Emotional distress. Some ridiculous number in damages. I didn't even flinch. Tell your lawyer to pack a lunch, I said. They'll be in court for a while. She dropped the fake outrage. Her face hardened. You were nothing before me. A nobody. I made you interesting. I gave you a life. I stepped closer, calm as a surgeon. You gave me a performance. A lie. A front row seat to your little theater of manipulation. Her lips curled. You'll pay for this. No, I said. You will. She left, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. I thought that was it. I thought the game was over. But it was just the intermission. That night, I got a message from a burner number. A video. Amanda and her mother in a conference room, screaming at each other. You told me it was safe. Amanda yelled. I told you not to be stupid. Her mother shouted back. Then the camera shifted slightly. In the background, unmistakably, was Chase Langston, watching them both, eyes wide. I didn't recognize the voice behind the camera, but I heard what they said. Get all of this. We're taking them both down. Whoever was filming it turned. I had an ally. Someone inside. And that meant one thing. Amanda wasn't just fighting me anymore. She was about to fight the whole damn storm. The next morning started with a knock. Not frantic. Calm. Rhythmic. Dangerous. I opened the door expecting Amanda or maybe someone from her legal team, coming to spit more threats. It wasn't either. It was him. Chase Langston. Dressed casual, hoodie, jeans, sunglasses, but that government guy tension was all over him. You could smell the authority. The kind of man who used charm like a weapon and secrets like currency. "Can we talk?" he asked, voice low. I didn't answer. Just walked back into the apartment and left the door open. If he had guts, he'd follow. He did. He stood in the middle of the room like he'd rehearsed this moment 100 times. Like he expected something civil. "You know who I am," he started. I poured coffee, said nothing. Let him work for it. I was investigating a fraud ring. Didn't know Amanda was in it at first. She was supposed to be a witness. Then he trailed off, shook his head. I got involved. Too involved. I took a sip. "You mean you got in the hot tub?" His jaw clenched. "Yeah." I laughed. "Federal badge, expensive surveillance gear, but still couldn't keep it in your pants. Must be some operation." He stepped closer. "Listen, I know you hate me. I'd hate me too. But this has gone beyond all of us. Amanda, her mother, they're working with a bigger network. People that don't just take your money. They erase you." I raised an eyebrow. "And now you're here. Why?" "Because you grew a conscience. Because I'm being hunted." I set the coffee down. He pulled up his sleeve. Deep bruises, fresh and ugly. "Last night, 2 men tried to make me disappear. Said I talked too much. My mouth went dry. They're covering their tracks. And Amanda," he said, "she's not scared. She thinks she's untouchable." I stepped back, let his words sink in. My mind raced. Was this real? Another setup? Or was Amanda finally eating the poison she fed everyone else? "I have files," Chase said. "Encrypted. Names. Accounts. Even offshore connections. But I need help. If I go to the feds, I'm dead before they can press record." "You came here for what?" "Sympathy." "No," he said. "A plan." I looked at him. Then at the drawer with the photo. Then at the door Amanda slammed 2 nights ago. "She ruined us both," I said. "But only one of us still has something to lose." He nodded slowly. That night, we started mapping it all out. Names. Dates. Who Amanda talked to. When. The party she hosted. The business dinners. The fake foundations. It was all there if you looked close enough. By midnight, we had a wall covered in scribbled notes, bank printouts, and red strings like some cliché detective drama. The difference was, this was real. And somewhere out there, Amanda was still moving, still plotting. We needed to strike before she knew we were even thinking. So I called one more person. Someone I swore I'd never speak to again. My brother, Logan. Ex-military. No nonsense. No patience. But loyal when it counted. He showed up with a burner phone and a duffel bag. Didn't ask questions. Just nodded and said, "Who we watching?" We set up surveillance. Not legal. Not clean. But necessary. Amanda was careful, but not careful enough. By the 3rd day, we had footage of her passing a briefcase to a man with a Serbian tattoo behind an abandoned salon. Cash. Conversations in foreign languages. Multiple phones. She was deeper in this than even Chase knew. And then, just when we thought we were finally ahead, just when we had the evidence, the leverage, and the next move in our pocket, the apartment door exploded. I hit the floor. Smoke. Screams. Which shattered into 1,000 pieces. Chase was bleeding from his shoulder. Logan grabbed me and yanked me into the hallway. Footsteps. Heavy boots. Voices shouting in another language. This wasn't court anymore. This was war. And Amanda? She wasn't running anymore. She was sending soldiers. I couldn't breathe. The air was thick with smoke and drywall dust, and all I could hear was my own heartbeat pounding like a war drum in my ears. Logan shoved me behind a stairwell, pressing a gun into my hand. "I told you she was dangerous," Chase coughed, blood dripping from his shoulder onto my living room floor. "You didn't listen." He wasn't wrong. I underestimated her. Thought I was playing her. Thought this would end in a courtroom or a scandal, not a goddamn hit squad kicking down my door. But Amanda had crossed that invisible line, the one where love turns to power and power turns to blood. Logan peeked around the corner. 2 guys, masks, silenced weapons. Probably ex-military or cartel. If they get in the hallway, we're boxed in. I could barely think. My apartment was gone. My safety, gone. My wife, if I can still call her that, had just declared open war. And something in me snapped. Not fear. Not panic. Something colder. I looked Chase in the eyes. Can you walk? He nodded, barely. Then get up. Logan led the charge, moving low and fast. We made it out the fire escape, 3 floors down. My knee hit metal on the way, but I didn't stop. Adrenaline made me bulletproof. We ducked into an alley 2 blocks away, and for the first time, I looked back at my home. Flames were flickering in the window. She hadn't just sent men. She'd sent a message. Where's the backup stash? Logan asked. I didn't hesitate. Storage unit. Northwest side. Box number 402. We stole a car. I'm not proud of it, but at that point, morality was already bleeding out on my carpet. We drove through the city like ghosts, blending in, hiding in plain sight. At the unit, I grabbed the last envelope. The nuclear option. The stuff I never thought I'd need to use, Amanda's original contracts, shell company names, even a handwritten letter from her mother referencing a payoff. We had it all. But she had soldiers. She had power. And she had no soul left to lose. That night, I didn't sleep. None of us did. We camped in an abandoned motel Logan used once when he was on the run from a failed op in Caracas. The walls smelled like mold and regret, but it was safe. For now, I sat with the last photo in my hands. Amanda, smiling, sun hitting her face just right, looking like the girl I fell in love with. But now I saw it differently. I saw the lies behind her eyes, the calculation in her posture, the predator wearing the mask of a wife. She's not going to stop, Chase said. You exposed her, embarrassed her, and now you're the only threat left. I nodded. Then we stop her first. We made a plan. A real one. Logan would handle protection. Chase would work his old contacts, find us someone who could bury the last files into the right hands. Journalists, prosecutors, maybe even the FBI. And me? I was going to Amanda. Face to face. I didn't care what she sent next. I didn't care if she had 10 more thugs or lawyers or snakes in silk suits. This time, I was going to look her in the eyes and end it. No more games. No more mercy. She started this fire. I was going to burn her whole empire down with it. I found her where I knew she'd be, her favorite rooftop bar downtown, the one where she'd kiss Chase like I never existed. She always came back to it, like a twisted queen admiring her kingdom from above. Only this time, her empire was cracking beneath her Louboutin heels, and I was holding the hammer. She was sitting in a corner booth, sipping something expensive and red, legs crossed like she didn't have a single problem in the world. When she saw me approach, she didn't flinch, didn't blink, just raised one eyebrow and smiled like we were old friends meeting for coffee. Well, thought you'd be dead by now, she said, tilting her head. I even gave them a photo to make sure. I sat across from her, leaned in close. You should have picked better men. She laughed. It was hollow, soulless. Let me guess, she said, swirling her drink. You came here for some dramatic goodbye? Or maybe to beg me to stop? I placed the flash drive on the table between us. She didn't touch it. Didn't even look at it. I know about the accounts, I said. The ghost companies. The bribes. The Serbian. Her smile didn't move, but I saw her pupils tighten. A flicker of something real behind the mask. Cute, she said. You found your backbone. No, I said. I found the truth. And I'm not the only one. You're finished, Amanda. Not just divorced. Not just disgraced. Done. She leaned back, the smirk gone now, replaced by something sharper, anger, maybe even fear, but buried under layers of ice. You think anyone's going to believe you? She hissed. I can spin this 100 ways. I'll say you hit me. I'll say you stalked me. I'll find a dozen women who'll swear you're violent, unstable, insane. I've got recordings, I said. Footage. Witnesses. Federal involvement. That's not a rumor I'm spreading. That's a bomb. She stared at me. Then, for the first time in months, her voice cracked. You loved me once. I did, I said, steady as steel. And that man died the night you laughed while your mother threatened to throw me in jail over a toilet. Silence. She reached for the drive, hand shaking just a little. She held it like it was made of fire. What do you want? She asked, voice low. Confess, I said. On paper. Admit everything. Name names. And disappear. Leave the city, the country, I don't care. But if I ever hear your name again, if you ever touch anyone I care about, this drive goes straight to the press, the courts, and every damn senator your mom ever had dinner with. Her jaw clenched. Her nostrils flared. But she didn't argue. She knew I meant it. I stood and walked away. Didn't look back. An hour later, Chase called. She just booked a flight to Lisbon. Private jet. One way. I nodded. Good. You think she'll stay gone? No, I said. But I'll be ready if she comes back. That night, Logan burned the backup copies. Not because we were letting her off the hook, but because we'd already handed the real files to people who couldn't be bribed or scared. Amanda was out, but the machine she built was still under fire. I moved to a new place the next week. Smaller, quieter. Somewhere she wouldn't think to look. Logan went back to whatever shadows he came from. Chase vanished too, probably hiding under some new alias in Arizona or wherever ex-agents go to rot. But me? I started living again. Real life. Not the fantasy Amanda sold me. I don't trust as easy now. I watch people longer. I listen closer. But I'm not broken. I'm awake. And if there's one thing I learned, when a woman like Amanda tells you to clean the toilet, you slam the truth on the table, light a match, and let her watch everything she built go up in flames. 3 months passed. No calls. No knocks. No surprise letters slid under my door at night. Just silence. Peace, if you want to call it that. The nightmares took a little longer to stop. Amanda's voice in my head, the sound of the apartment door exploding, the soft click of that rooftop photo being taken before everything unraveled. But the noise in my mind eventually faded. Not completely, but enough to sleep again. One afternoon, I got a call from the journalist. Jenna. She was breathless. You need to see this. She texted me a link. Front page of a major European paper. A photo of Amanda in sunglasses walking out of a hotel in Barcelona with a man who looked like a crooked diplomat, and a headline that translated roughly to ex-US attorney's daughter linked to bribery ring in Spain. I almost smiled. She's already at it, I said. She didn't vanish, Jenna said. She evolved. That night, I sat in my kitchen, poured a drink, and stared out the window at the quiet street below. There were no explosions, no spies, no lies. Just leaves rustling in the breeze and the low hum of someone's TV a floor down. But something felt unfinished, like I hadn't written the last sentence yet. Amanda would always find a new stage, a new mask, a new man dumb enough to think he was special. But me? I was done being the mark. I'd taken my hits, got bloodied, burned, betrayed, but I was still standing, stronger, sharper, less trusting, sure, but never again blind. Then one morning, an envelope arrived in my mailbox. No name, no return address. Inside was a photo. Amanda. Again. Only this time, she was alone. Sitting on a bench in some stone courtyard, barefoot, looking human, tired, empty. On the back, a single line. You win. No signature. No threat. Just surrender, scribbled in a hand I used to know by touch. I stared at it for a while. Thought about burning it. Tossing it, keeping it. In the end, I slid it into the back of a drawer and left it there. Not because I forgave her, but because I didn't need to chase her anymore. The game was over, and I was free. A year passed, and not once did I hear her name in my life again. No more photos, no more threats, no more games. The apartment I moved into became a home, the kind of place where the silence was comforting instead of suffocating. I picked up old habits I'd forgotten I loved, reading before bed, early morning runs, making breakfast just for the hell of it. No one barking orders. No one smirking across the table like I was her employee. Just me. And peace. Real peace. I never chased another relationship after Amanda. Not right away. When someone shatters your reality the way she did, you don't rush into the arms of someone new. You rebuild slow, brick by brick, heartbeat by heartbeat. One evening, I found myself walking by the old rooftop bar. The one where I first saw her for who she really was. It was closed now. Permanently. The building was set for demolition. I stood there a while, watching the shadows of what used to be like some bad movie scene with a better ending. There was no anger left. No heat. Just a cold awareness of what I survived. What I escaped. Amanda was somewhere far away, probably whispering lies to some other poor soul in another country, wearing another face. But I'd already buried her in my mind, in my past, in the ashes of everything she tried to control. And that man she once laughed at? The one she tried to crush with threats, betrayal, and power plays? He didn't just survive. He walked through fire and came out clean. So here's what I'd say to anyone who's been there. If she lies to your face and laughs behind your back, walk. If she manipulates you, isolates you, makes you doubt your own worth, run. If she threatens to ruin your life just because she can, burn every bridge and light a better one yourself. Because love without respect isn't love. It's a leash. Cut it. And don't look back. Ever.